Hi, everyone, and welcome to Mission Magic. I'm Lucy Makara, host of the Mission Magic Women's Group, founder of Rethink Press and Book Magic AI, and author of 14 books. Sorry, I just let in Paula there. In the Mission Magic sessions, I talk to mission-led women about their brilliant new ideas, concepts, and visions. And today I am delighted to talk to Maxine Crowe. So, welcome, Maxine. Maxine is a
Hi.
is a respected voice in the facilities management industry and the visionary founder of MCFM Global Academy, the world's first online learning platform dedicated to upskilling professionals in mobilisation and transformation. With over 3 decades of experience, Maxine has supported the mobilisation of contracts worth over £1 billion and built trusted relationships with more than 5,000 suppliers globally. So, whether you're a contractor, an FM professional, or property manager, Maxine's insights today in her presentation From Chaos to Clarity will reshape how you view training, mobilisation, and operational change. So, Maxine, over to you.
Yes.
Wonderful to have you here.
Hi. It's an absolute pleasure to be here and just so excited to be able to share this first session, an event about MCFM Global Academy. Before I actually share my presentation, great introduction, Lucy. Thank you so much for that. Um, Before I actually share my presentation, I just wanted to say that this vision has been, I wouldn't say festering because it's not been unpleasant. 9 years ago, the idea for the academy came, and it's because of the experiences, the years of um, working and doing the impossible basically in this space. For those that are in the facility management industry, mobilizations are challenging, and we want to really flip it on its head with the academy by flooding. The vision is to flood the industry with mobilization masters, resources upskilled, so that the pain is lessened. So I'm not going to talk too much because I'll go into our presentation now, but absolutely delighted, and it's an honor for everyone to be here. So I am going to share my screen and my presentation for today. There will be an opportunity to ask questions at the end, and Lucy and Michaela are on hand if there's anything that you put in the chat during my presentation. So let me just share. Okay, just checking that you can see me. Oh,
Yep, that looks great. All good.
all right, brilliant. So when I talk about mobilization transformation, people often think, "Oh gosh, what is it?" when they're outside the industry. But it's the basic process of moving from A to B. You have a corporation that want to change their services and their providers, and what that means is that they'll go out and tender for people to actually deliver those services on their behalf. Now, that is the art of mobilizing. You're moving from one, either a provider to another, or the client is outsourcing their services for the first time. There is this piece and this process. There's a lot of moving parts. You have different departments, the communication coordinating operations, coordinating legals, health and safety, and sometimes it can be very messy, hence chaos. And I say chaos because you're you're bound by tight timelines. Sometimes they're across multiple regions, and so yes, it can be really chaotic. About 70% of projects fail in one way or another. I'm talking globally now, and it does result in a lot of corrective actions after a project has actually gone live with a client. It can lead to all sorts of issues. I just wanted to say that in terms of my background, I came from working many years ago, 5 jobs. I was a barmaid, I was cleaning, doing administration, I was working for a healthcare trust. And many people sort of fall into facilities management, but that wasn't the case for me. For me, it was a deliberate step in terms of a career. And one of the things many years ago that I said was 3 things. I'd want to be a role model in the industry, an international speaker, which I now do, but more importantly, to actually educate and upskill. And here we are today. That has finally come to fruition. Understanding mobilisation. So where I've talked about the number of failures, abandon projects because basically in terms of transition, um, you know, the client climate has changed, and for whatever reason, sometimes our clients decide they're not going to go forward with a tender. They might want to spend more time consolidating what they already have. Um, 15% of complete failures. So where there's zero success, it's just gone completely wrong. And in the past, I'll get a phone call to go in and troubleshoot. That all adds up in terms of a cost of reputation as well. And there's a lot of time spent repairing where damage has been done. Financial losses occur, decreased productivity because your operational teams having to reconfigure what they've known to then try and meet the new way of working, which they may not have had communicated or a change management process to embed properly. Low stakeholder acceptance. Sometimes when these issues occur, you can end up with diminished trust and dissatisfaction. And then the opportunity costs as well, lost revenue, market opportunities as a result of something that hasn't gone right. Here's just a little bit about why projects fail. And one of the big areas is around resources. When you're pulled off a day-to-day job to actually work on a project because you're growing exponentially, it can be quite overwhelming. And most of the time for us as industry professionals, we're basically running from one thing to another without that forethought of, okay, where's the standard? Where's that toolbox that we can actually just pull off the shelf and deliver the solution? Also, we have a varied amount of types of client that we work with, types of environments that we work with as well. And so in terms of limited training, upskilling is really a demand in the industry right now. And if you're part of the FM industry, you'll know that they are the hot topics. But we need to change and we need to do something about that. So now we come on to MCFM Global Academy and what the kind of solutions are we're looking at. We want to look at in-house expertise. So if you're a corporate, a large corporate delivering globally in terms of mobilizing and transformation, you'll have regional teams, you'll have your core mobilization teams that are mobilizing and transitioning day in, day out. That's great, but what about the talent, recognizing other people in the organizations who can actually support, recognizing that in different regions, why not have a standard uh, excellence framework that you can work to? And also recognizing that when we bring external people in to support projects, it's an added cost. We can actually influence that with reducing your cost by 30 to 40% by having the inbound teams, in your internal teams upskilled in this area. We did some research earlier on in the year with our partners EP Hospitality, thanks to Chris and Izzy. And globally, there's around 18,000 vacancies for facility managers. So for us as an academy, looking at where we can pull interest in this really specialized niche in the industry, there's opportunity for us to start bridging the skills gap and those resources gaps. Our learning approach. I'm really, really proud to say that we have, and some of them are on the call, subject matter experts who specialize in psychology, because we work with teams and lots of services. And in mobilization, there's so many disciplines. There's hard services, there's the procurement, there's mail logistics, there's the HR, the TUPE element. And the model that we have is that these subject matter experts deliver content for you and are also mentors and coaching throughout your journey with us. We don't work from a theoretical basis. We actually operate from practical, real world scenarios. And the benefit of that is twofold. One, if you are already operating in the space of transition, it just means that you can dip in, you can use the resources, download the tools, and actually improve your capability and efficiency straight away. And the second thing is that if you're new coming into this really fascinating field, you walk away with everything you need to start today. So that is really part of our unique selling point. The other great thing is that I'm really passionate about, so it's the so what. So what if I have a certificate in risk management or in how to develop a mobilization plan? The beauty of these is if you're already doing your SIPs, if you're already doing an IWFM qualification or an IFMA, any industry type of qualification, these courses count. Every course that we have is CPD accredited, and it really adds that value to the level of expertise that we're bringing into the industry. I said before we've got toolkits and templates, but also part of the value that we bring is the coaching accountability groups as well once the community starts to grow, so that you're supported throughout the whole of your journey with us. We operate on a global platform, and most of our learning is through courses and activities. However, if you're a corporate and you know that you have in-house teams that you want to upskill, we also do workshops. We are developing the first of its kind in terms of a MBA equivalent transformation program, 12-month transformation program. And that will actually be a certification in mobilization and transformation. So that is really exciting and is in development. I talk here about practical application of the learning that we do, but also data-driven development. We have dashboards where you can monitor and manage your progress. And also it acts for us as experts and instructors as a way for us to check in on you to identify if there's any particular areas that we need to spend a bit more time with you developing and mentoring you on, so that you really add value to your organization and to what you're doing. Identifying future ready talent. I've mentioned a little bit already about upskilling in your organizations, but as individuals as well, we do have a way of utilizing benchmarking profiles. So if you're in a certain position right now and you know you want to stay in this area, which is, there's so much opportunity, the market is exponentially growing, so there's going to be more demand for qualified mobilization masters within the field. It's not slowing down. So what we can do is take you through assessments and create your success indicators so that you can plan ahead for your future growth and the pipelines that you currently have. Developing your dream team. For us, the vision is that you basically have cross-functional skills across your teams. Yes, you're depending on whether you've got contracts that are mobilizing at the same time. I think there's always going to be room for your interims and for pulling in additional resources. However, partnering with the academy means that we can also provide qualified and a great standard of professional to you. Change management. We have Gayatri, our psychologist, on the session today, and when I formed the academy, one thing that was really important was that we work with teams, we work with we're problem solving, and the courses. Yeah, sorry, I thought, is there a question?
I don't think so,
Oh,
Maxine.
sorry.
Maybe someone's got their. Maybe can everybody mute themselves, except Maxine, obviously, so that we don't get any noise coming through. Thank you.
Okay. So I talked about the psychology and the behavioral approaches to the problem solving, the team dynamics, communication, and all of those things are really important because we work with people, we work with a lot of change. That was important for us to embed those skills in your organizations and in your toolkit. Risk mitigation, we do talk a lot around risk management, the importance of risk management, and we do take you through a step-by-step approach to risk registers. And sometimes it's forgotten, but it's a key part, especially if you're working across multiple regions and multiple countries. Your roadmap, the basic approach that we take is assessing your current capabilities, implementing learning programs. So you may not need everything right now, and that's fine because we have various levels from foundation through to intermediate and advanced. So we do cater for where you are on your journey in terms of mobilization. We have the various frameworks as well that we can implement for you, or we have the do it yourself where you can literally pick it up, grab. It's like a grab and grow. And as I said, we track your results. And it doesn't just start with the course, that's just the beginning of the journey. Embedding skills takes time, and we want to be that partner that works with you for the long term. Just in terms of the academy itself, we have a QR code here, which when you scan it will take you to the academy. In terms of we have discovery sessions that I will make sure are available because it talks about how you navigate around the site. It talks about our board, our advisory board, who they are. It talks about an important part is pitching to your employer. So, as organizations, you'll have training and development budgets. However, sometimes, especially if you're a young professional, you might think, oh my gosh, how do I approach this? How do I approach my manager to get funding or look at how I can learn through the academy? So that pitch to your employer, which you'll see on there, is literally its own toolkit where you have a letter that you can write to your employer, your line manager. It has how you would talk about the benefits and the value that taking our training gives to your organization, and just so much more. And it's really to make it easy for you to engage and easy for you to actually enroll and sign up for our projects. The middle picture was a company EFS who I did a workshop with last year, and they're all future leaders. We're really passionate about growing future leaders in the industry, and those relationships are starting to come now, which really excited about for the future. I've come to the end of the presentation. I will stop sharing. I just wanted to open the floor for any questions, and if it's okay, Gayatri, to put you on the spot just to talk a little bit about and introduce yourself as well. I think that would be really great.
That's great. Yes. Gayatri, do go ahead.
This was very unexpected. Hello, everyone. I'm Gayatri. I am the one that lives in Norway with a Caribbean accent. Um, so I've known Maxine for a while. I am a behavioral psychologist. I trained in the UK, and when Maxine approached me, I had very little understanding of facilities management. So the behavioral part of this entire process has been around how do we engage the human behavior when it comes to mitigating problems, things that can actually come up in her environment. And through that conversation, we came up with the problem solving and different ways in which you can problem solve based on what happens in that industry. Sounding about right, Maxine?
Yeah, yeah.
So I think there's 7 courses in there. Um, all CPD accredited, and it's very practical, hands-on. So yes, there is the course where I'm online speaking, but it also allows you to engage with the information, come back and ask questions. Um, I think the way from how the courses are created, it allows you to also engage other professionals and experts that can tie into the issues that you are having within facilities management itself. So it's not just about the behavior side of it, but it's also tying into the different experts that Maxine has at the academy. So it's a kind of integrative way in which you're problem solving, as opposed to just having a psychologist who's telling you, you need to do these patterns and create these things. It's actually so hands-on because you're engaging different mentors, different experts in different areas specific to your field.
Thank you, Gayatri. Uh, there's a couple of things that I have that I will share after this session. There's a mobilization clarity worksheet, and this is a tool designed to help you reflect on your current mobilization efforts and also identify areas of chaos or confusion that need clarity. So I'm going to just read those questions out. So for those of you that are on the call, then you can start to think about. So one of the first question is, what is the biggest challenge you're currently facing in your mobilization projects? What are 3 things that are currently unclear in your transition process? Who are your stakeholders and how often do you engage with them? What part of the mobilization is eating you up most of the time with the least results? And which of the top 5 lessons today, which I will share with you, resonated and why? I've actually done that back to front, but that's typical. If you could wave a magic wand, what one thing would you want to fix right now? And the last question is, what one action can you take tomorrow to bring more clarity to your work? So 7 key questions there, which I will share after the session. So I talked about some top lessons there. So for me, for you, it's looking at people before process. So even though the processes and the framework that we have and that we teach you is important, it's also about the people and how we interact with them. Your energy introduces you. When you're in this industry, in this field, this specialist field, you can't come with negative energy. It's got to be positive. You're moving fast all of the time. So having that real positive energy helps you move forward and helps you to be open to getting solutions and engaging with more people. And people see your energy and they thrive off that. And there's long hours, long working days, for a lot prolonged periods of time. So energy is really important. I say progress over perfection. Uh, for those industry professionals, we're never going to hit perfect. What's important is that we keep moving and keep progressing forward and flagging where there's any issues as they arise so that we can solve them. I've got the fourth lesson here is that communication is your superpower from every stage, from the first part, the pre-mobilization, right through to the fourth pillar of stabilizing. Communicate every step of the way. And the
Maxine.
last one,
Oh,
yes,
sorry, no, go ahead. Go ahead.
yeah.
Yeah, we've got.
And the last thing is it's okay to start messy. And I say that because when we engage with our clients, sometimes they're unclear because they're even unsure about what the future end result looks like, what that solution is going to look like. And it's for us as the mobilization masters to provide that clarity for them. And it's just so important, especially if they've never outsourced before. We have to bring them on that journey. And we in the academy we have a client outsourcing model which we've designed, and it takes the client through the process of understanding what level of engagement we need to provide for them. If it's someone that's doing it for the first time, our engagement and our support to them is going to be really high. So we have to account for that within our teams. And if it's a client that has been there, done the rounds, they know what they want already. What they want from us is innovation. They want to know that we can just hit the ground running, just deliver, because they've seen it. They've been through 3, 4 providers. They know what they want. And sometimes it's as simple as a partner where they don't have to spend all that time micromanaging. It's not about that for them. It's a whole different solution that they're looking for. And it's really important for our teams to get that and understand it.
That's fantastic. Maxine, I have to say, I was incredibly impressed by you before. I'm even more impressed now. I have to say, not being in your area at all, that I had no idea that mobilization was that complex, that you involved psychologists, for example. That's a whole kind of revelation to me. So there's a few comments and questions in the chat, which I'll
Mm,
just read out to you if you like.
sure.
So Jean says, it sounds exciting, Maxine. I love the idea of it being hands-on and bringing on leaders of the future in FM. How does an employee looking to build their FM career reach out to you or engage their employers? Good question.
That is a good question. People can reach out to me directly, so we'll share all of my details. I'm very much across all socials. We have a MCFM Academy page on LinkedIn. However, I'm very active on social platforms. My main one is LinkedIn or just a personal email. I'm very open to anyone approaching us. I am offering as well. There's a 30-minute discovery call, so there is a Calendly link which will be shared as well. Just reach out and we'll just spend some time discovering where you are right now, what your needs are, and that's it really. I'm just an open door, and you can approach anytime.
Fantastic. So Michaela says, Maxine, is there a typical area where your clients experience the most challenges?
Oh, do you know, I'm going to say that how you begin a project is really key to how it's going to flow. What I mean by that is that first engagement with the client, once you've been awarded that contract, that first engagement in terms of establishing roles, responsibility, who's accountable, having that dual, we call them kickoff meetings in the industry. So where you're in the room with the client, you're actually going through each element If that doesn't happen, expectations on the client side aren't met, or on the service providers side aren't met, because you're both working on different levels, different understandings of what something means. Those kickoff meetings are really critical in terms of making sure everyone's on the same page, you understanding, if you're working in HR, who your HR counterpart is in the client organization, because sometimes there may be, if the client is moving away from delivering all of the services, you're going to be taking on some of those employees directly into your own company. You may be outsourcing some of their employees to your service providers. So maybe the cleaning company is going to be picking up some of their team. So having all these things clarified at the very beginning is really critical. So yes, Michaela, to your question, that is at the beginning of that process when a contract's been awarded. That is one of the most critical areas. Another area is around due diligence and having access to client information. That's so important because it sets the whole tone for how you then move forward with your transition. And also, I'll give you an example. A client might say, okay, here's all this data. You've got the site locations, you've got the square footage, you've got the information for the teams has been released. However, um, there's some unknowns where, okay, you haven't been able to see the site, you haven't been able to meet with the team, and all the time the clock is ticking for you then to be able to deliver on a date that they expect you to deliver. So that is an area that can be really challenging because you don't know what you know until you take over, then you discover things that are actually happening. And in terms of clarity, when I talk about that's some of the chaos, the clarity there is basically ensuring with the client you have a process in place to say, okay, if we have these variations, how are we gonna treat those? How are we gonna get those signed off and approved? Also, there may be a budget transferring across from the client to you, making sure that those gaps that you identify, the budget for those come over as well. So, Michaela, to your question, using those examples, they're key areas that can go really wrong if they're not ironed out and clarified at the very beginning of the process.
Brilliant. David says the skill of knowing what is good enough is just that's a a comment. Where are we? So David also asks, how is artificial intelligence affecting this? Very good question.
Yeah. So David knows me very very well. I am quite a techie geek, and AI is actually for the academy. One of the things that I'm working on at the moment that's still in development is agentic AI. So having for people that in terms of agentic AI, it's that assistant. So because it's a global platform, when I'm sleeping or when Gaia's off doing what she does, we may not be available to answer questions. So teaching um agentic AI the typical things around, okay, learning about the instructors, the things that if you asked an instructor, like Guy, I'll pick on Guy, a question about, okay, team dynamics says XYZ, but if I have this certain situation, so that, so having it taught around what the instructor's responses would be, my responses would be information about the academy, how to access certain things is what we're introducing as well. So we're accessible 24/7, literally. But there's nothing that can be said for that human element, which is where as we grow and scale, the accountability, the community will actually be enriched by actual people, talking, sharing their experiences. So yes, very, very much AI in terms of content as well, sharing knowledge and value across the social platforms, so that there's always some learning that people can access.
Fantastic. Anybody else got any questions for Maxine before we let you all go? That was so fascinating, Maxine. It's so in depth. In a way, there are so many questions. It's hard to, I mean, do just shout out or put your hand up or put it in the chat if you'd like to ask Maxine anything else. I mean, I think that was so comprehensive. It's probably something that everybody's processing at the moment. And as you say, we'll put all your links and where people can book times with you. They're in the chat at the moment, but if you're watching this later, obviously it will be in the notes that go along with this as well.
I was going to say, Lucy, that there's it's a lot of moving parts, which is why I called it chaos to clarity. So yes, there's the chaos and the moving parts of moving fast across multiple disciplines. Um, yes, of course, of course.
Yes, so Michaela says, can we ask you about your book?
Yes, my book. Oh my gosh, Mobilisation Mastery from Zero to Mobilisation Hero is actually in design stage now. So we're literally at the point where we're choosing the different covers for the book. 5 years ago, started writing this because it is about anecdotes and stories, more in terms of the toolkit. We talk about the academy, we talk about our mobilisation mastery framework. Some beautiful stories. We have contributions through the lens, which is Glove Williams in International, who a international company which I'm really proud to be part of. And more news about that will come out very, very soon. But yes, the book will be out this summer, around this summertime, I'm going to say, now that we're in the final design stages. It's really excited, and everyone that's registered for this session will have an opportunity to receive an electronic version of that. I will be sharing some excerpts from the book as we run up to doing an online launch in the coming months. But yeah, it's just super exciting. It just means that we can reach more people. In my three words of inspiring, educating, and energizing more people in the industry, raising the awareness. It is a special space and often gets underestimated in terms of what it takes to do a mobilization well. Um, I have got a couple of things I wanted to say actually. I'll have to read it though. So the difference between failed and masterful mobilization is clarity and capability, not necessarily budget. Um, and just let's build your capability through the academy. That's just one of the things I wanted to say before we wrap up today.
Fantastic. Well, that was absolutely brilliant, Maxine. Thank you so much for sharing so much complex, dense content in a very accessible and fascinating way. So thanks
Thank you.
everybody for being here and really great to see you all. And thank you again, Maxine. That was wonderful.
Oh,
Thank
thank you
you.
so much. Thanks, everyone. My pleasure.